The future of the world is in my classroom today. A future with the potential for good or bad. Several future presidents are learning from me today. So are the great writers of the next decades. And so are the so-called ordinary people who will make decisions in a democracy. I must never forget these same young people could be thieves or murderers of the future. Only a teacher? Thank God I have a calling to the greatest profession of all. I must be vigilant every day, lest I lose one fragile opportunity to improve tomorrow. Words of an American professor emeritus of education, Dr. Ivan Welton Fitzwater.
A teacher is very important in the world. Let me use that word, because a teacher is a profession where every other professions are born. You want to be a lawyer, of course you go through a teacher. You want to be a doctor, there must be a teacher that is teaching you. You want to, whatever thing you want to be in life, you must have a teacher. That is why the society must respect teaching or a teacher.
Education is the engine of development and the heart of advancement in every human endeavor. Like every other system, education needs a solid foundation for it to be meaningful.
As a teacher, you need to be very creative. That's one of the good qualities. You have to be creative to relate your teaching to the students, to creative, because there are a lot of children, there are a lot of learning aspects. There are some children who learn by visuals. There are some children who learns by audio, maybe just the sound or just your words rather. So you have to be creative, teaching aids. You have to come up with so many visuals, so many teaching aids, so many audios, so many things that will just help your children, because children learn from anything. So you have to be creative to know these things that will enable the children to understand what you are teaching them. Another good quality of a teacher is that you must be able to, you must have a sense of humor. You know, teaching, like, you can't just be in the class, you are not lecturing. There's a difference between teaching and lecturing. And the difference between teaching a nursery school or primary school and then teaching those in secondary school and the universities. Now, these are children. You know, you can't just be so serious with them from morning till the time you close. No, you have to have a sense of humor, to chip in something that will make them laugh, to relieve this tense. So you must have a very good sense of humor to throw into the class. You see, the children will be excited, they will laugh, they will be happy, and this will enable them to learn faster.
This can only be laid by teachers in the early childhood care education, also known these days as nursery and primary school teachers. When a child is born in every society, he or she is welcomed into the loving hands of the parents. Their socialization begins. However, time keeps becoming shorter for the parents to stay with the growing children at home. There seems to be an increasing need for the parents to take their children to school as early as 1 year.
I see the teacher as the first parent of a child, or the father or the mother of the child, because we are just custodians. We give back to them at age 2 or 1. You want them out to where they will start doing something good, and then while you pursue your career or your job, or one thing or the other. So I see the teacher as the first original parent of the child, because about 70 or 80% of these kids that grow up, they don't grow with us, they grow up with the teachers. Because in your kindergarten, you spend a year or so, you go to your nursery school, you spend 2 years, you start your primary school, you spend 5 or 6 years. From there, you are still going to another school.
Parents these days, we are out running up and down, trying to make sure we look for the money so we can put food on the table, pay house rents, get transportation going and all of that. And so we, unfortunately, do not give the kind of attention we are supposed to give to our children back home. So the challenge for me personally is having enough time with my child, to ensure that, I'm able to transfer heritage, good culture, good values, good traditions onto my children.
Childhood begins formation of the human character or personality because it is during this period that the human brain develops. Therefore, early years are most critical to the development of intelligence, intellect, and social behavior which come from interacting with others and things.
What do you want to become in the future?
I want to become a nurse in future. I want to become a pilot in future. I want to become a doctor in future. I want to become a lawyer when I grow up.
Why do you want to become a lawyer?
Because I want to help citizens out.
The federal government of Nigeria understands this and in 1977 gave official recognition to the development and provision of early childhood care education, which came with the introduction of National Policy on Education. This was based on the following objectives: effect a smooth transition from home to school, prepare the child for the primary level of education, provide adequate care and supervision for the children while their parents are at work, on the farm, in the market, or in the offices, inculcate social norms in them, inculcate in the child the spirit of inquiry and creativity through exploration of nature, the environment, art, music, and playing with toys and so on. Develop a sense of cooperation and team spirit. Learn good habits, especially good health habits, and teach them the rudiments of numbers, letters, colors, shapes, forms, and so on through play.
How many zebras? 3. How many are they? 3. How many are they? 3 zebras. So anywhere I see my object, I will count them. I will count them. We are moving on. This is number 4. What number is this? Number 4. There is time for everything. There is time for everything.
It makes the children laugh and play, and play, laugh and play. It makes the children laugh and play to see a lamb at school. Here we have a little lamb, it was white as snow. Here we go, we go.
In spite of these laudable objectives, the early childhood care education in Nigeria has been suffering from many challenges.
Challenges that nursery and primary school teacher face is lack of supporting technology. Right now we are in the 21st century and we know the role of technology in everything, in fact every aspect of our lives. So like in learning, for primary school or nursery school, technology is very important. How does it work? Like in reception classes, for instance, or kindergarten, or as some schools may call it, you need audio, you need visuals, you need lots of things that will help the child to learn. And when the child is in a good environment or having all these technologies in place, and then the child learns well, the teacher in turns will be happy. And the teacher in turns will know, okay, he or she is doing a good work. But when all these technological aspects of it are not in place, you see that the teaching will not be fun.
The Nigerian government itself hardly has any investment in this very important level of education, leaving it in the hands of private individuals and religious organizations. There is poor remuneration of teachers and abysmal lack of incentives by some of their employers. Ineffective supervision of the sector by authorities saddled with the responsibility. Non-implementation of 1 teacher to 25 pupil ratio policy by some of the schools. Inadequate quantity and quality of teachers due to poor remuneration and work conditions. Poor or inadequate facilities, teaching and learning materials, among others.
School has a setting, you have a playground, you have a classrooms, and then there are other learning materials that needs to make up a class for a teacher to be with. So when these things are not in place, you see that the teacher will not be able to function very well. For instance, I went to a school and it's a reception classes, and in a reception class, it needs a reception class needs probably a television. It needs the classroom supposed to be colorful, and so that by the time a child comes into the class, he or she will feel at home. He will feel ready to learn. So in a situation where such things are not in place, the teacher will be frustrated, of course.
I will urge the government to really take education as priority, especially in this age in our country, Nigeria. What I'm looking at is that people in government, maybe they are trying, but they are not getting to the grassroots in dealing with the issues of education. When you deal with the issue of education, it will affect the teachers. Because if you know that this is it, you encourage people who are passionate for teaching to continue with the teaching. Create platforms for those who want to go to the education line to perform it. You see, facilities have to be given. We have some universities of education, apart from colleges of education. Put some things in place in those places. Let the proper amenities be put in place for these people to be well trained.
However, like Dr. Ivan Welton Fitzwater, there are many teachers in Nigeria who understand their noble call in the teaching profession. They carry out their assignments with a sense of vision and mission.
It's my earnest desire to see that the children I teach become something good in future. That's my desire as a teacher.
I see myself as a trainee. What I impart into them, they do well part-time. I feel excited, and I always want them to do more, even as in better off than what we give them. Because one thing I do particularly in my class, because the same thing they derive from home, from the children, my own personal children. Whatever homework we give them, we don't allow parents to do it for them. So I always instruct them daily, do your homework by yourself. And I always tell them there's this song, I can do it on my own. I can do it once I've been shown.
A vision that drives the school. And what is that vision? Raising high-ranking, spiritual conscious leaders who will bring honor and dignity to their fatherland, the universe, as well as fulfilling God's destiny in their lives. And also, this thing is based on 3 pillars, our vision, which is academic excellence, spirituality, creativity, and enterprise.
Remember, children at this stage are so restless, hyperactive, and full of energy to expend. If parents can have a tough time handling 2 or 3 children at home, then imagine what a teacher goes through every day at school with them as pupils.
Oh my God, teachers are great. Teachers are really doing well. It's not really easy, even to understand the psyche of a child. It's something that, you have to be a patient person. You have to be, you even have to be calm to understand kids. It really takes patience to handle children.
If I have Yanis and Nathan, just 2 of them, and I'm shouting off the roof, I can understand what it is when you have 10 boys in your class and maybe 10 girls. I don't know what the experience with baby girls are yet, but I know that as a woman, we talk plenty. So when you add the talking from 15, 12 girls, and then you add it to maybe 10 boys, oh my God, I can imagine the headache, the shouting, and the racking of throats for the teachers.
As kids, as you are teaching them, you are showing them what to do. Somebody is poo-pooing, somebody is wooing, and you don't expect a father or a parent to come from home to come and clear this in the class. So the teacher will break and say, okay, the second teacher, please can you help me tidy up this class? And you can imagine a class of 25 to 30. Somebody has poo. They will now say, please shift here. They will bring Isaiah. Do all this occupational hazard. The teacher will go through.
Like the reception classes where maybe even in the crèche, in the kindergartens where you tell the child sit down and the child will stand up, the child will be crying. So there are some children who will cry from morning till night, and you like stop crying, like the child, if when you say stop crying, that's when the child will scream more. You need patience for you to be able to control yourself. You need patience for you to be able to control your class, for you to control children as a whole, because children are in fact really, really difficult to control.
I can't say that this is the particular challenge in teaching a child. Maybe the child is not learning fast. That can be a challenge. You follow the child at his or her own pace. But the bottom line is that at the end, let the child be able to achieve something. Or playing too much, they have to play. Because these are the challenges people normally mention. At their level, they are full of energy, so they have to exhaust it. So I don't really call those things challenges, because that is why I am a teacher, to effect changes on the children.
Most times during holidays, some parents would be wishing that schools never went on vacation, not just because of the training, but because they need a break from their own children. Do parents realize that their children are their future? How much attention to these children can be too much?
Nowadays, parents are too busy, mothers are too busy with their makeups, their hair, every other thing, but they don't have time for their children. Why? Because they feel we're paying some money for school fees, and then the teachers should just take care of that aspect. We should grow past that to bring up a better tomorrow. Like I said, I study criminology, and I've understood from my case of study that crime begins from home. Everything a child turns to begins from home.
When the children come to school, yes, they are under the care of the teachers, but they will always go back home. They feel time, they feel minutes they will spend with their parents or hours. Parents should always learn to correct or accept whatsoever thing that is being given to the children as per homework. They should always guide them, not doing it for them.
Teachers and parents should make sure that they invest much on the children. It's not one-sided. Parents should know that they are involved in their child education. It's not something they should let for teachers alone. When there's a problem, it's the teacher. No, two of them are involved.
For instance, if you came back home very tired from work and your child came screaming for your attention, how would you react?
I would be like, what is this? For God's sake, see how everywhere is. Please, 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 all of you should give me space. I'm not in the mood for all this.
Actually, I will spank her.
Yet, our nursery and primary school teachers have to cope with much more of that and still impart knowledge and discipline into our children. Can we appreciate them enough? How do we relate with them?
I respect my children teachers. I respect them so much. To the extent I don't talk to them anyhow. And as God's will, I do give them things that I think I'm able to. Even last Christmas, I was able to do something. And that's how it's not to encourage them to give your children marks in the school, but appreciating them for what they have done. Especially if you have seen their effect of teaching in the children. I noticed these days, we parents, we have left everything to teachers to do. And it's not supposed to be like that. There's a part that teacher will take. We parents also, we have our own part we'll take. Before that can be achieved, you should be able to know your child's teacher. When you know your child's teacher, you know how the child is doing in the school, then you know how you can come in as a mother.
I started bearing kids. I knew how the teachers are suffering. A child of 6 months, 1 year, you come and see with Pampers. The class, you don't wear your shoe, you remove your shoe. They will take care of your baby.
We have some difficult parents, but we try as much as possible to cope with them. How do we cope with them? Listen to them more and talk less.
When you say difficult parents, what do you mean?
I think in the area of trying to argue out issues that should not be argued, you have lesser time with them at home, we have more time with them in school. What we tell you, recommendation, suggestion, you work with, but some come to counter motion what you have discovered. In the course of countering you, you find it difficult to adjust. And before you know, argument can erupt. And you keep quiet and listen to them more. But when the result comes, they learn to listen to you. those are difficult parents.
And when there's no close relationship, parents fighting teachers, in fact, you are not just raising a stubborn child, but you raise a child with low academic performance.
A goose that lays the golden egg should be fed fat with diamonds and gold.
Would you like to be a teacher when you grow up?
No.
Why?
Too much work.
Sorry?
It's too much work.
It's too much work.
It's very, sorry to say, these days they don't take teachers as anything. They see teaching as a dumping brand, which is not supposed to be. Teacher is a good profession. Is teacher that taught doctors? Is it not teacher that taught lawyers? So they need to treat them the way they treat other professions.
The orientation has to change in this country because I have to tell you the truth. Teachers and firefighters, the one we call fire brigades, they are the well-paid civil servants all over the world. Let's say Europe, partially Asia. But when it comes to this part of Africa, especially Nigeria, teachers are the least paid in every aspect. Either the private sector, if they are paying you 100,000 in the private sector, if you go to another place, in fact, it's nothing.
I celebrate my children's teachers twice in a year. One, Christmas period. Now, Christmas period is a period where you celebrate everybody. So I make sure I extend a hand of friendship to you, no matter how small it is. But I make sure I give you something significant that even in 10 years to come, you'll be able to say, I had a pupil in my class whose mother would always, when that time of the year comes, you will wish you still had my child in your class because you know that you will get something for Christmas. And then when I come for open day, most times I've never given more than 200 naira, please, for water, because I know they are trying.
If you go to countries where they do well, like in the US and other places, teachers are given high respect, just like doctors, nurses, and the others. And that's why you see them doing well. So here in our country, even the teachers that teach these people to become professionals in various fields are not given the right respect. And that's why you see the quality of education is going down. But if we invest well in the quality of life of our teachers, it will help them to also improve the quality of the knowledge they pass on to our children. So as parents, we can do more ourselves by improving relationship with them and also encouraging the school to actually do what they are supposed to do for these teachers.
A clarion call to Nigerian government and all other stakeholders to give early childhood education the much attention it deserves. Education is our hope for a prosperous and sustainable future, and a solid foundation is the faith we need to work with.
I'll give thumbs up for teachers because teachers are heroes.
Please clap for them, encourage them,